Hi, so in this video, we're going to talk about some hints and tips on how to look for patterns in ionic bonds. So you're going to notice all these tables here, and notice for each table, we're looking at one specific element. So I'm going to start with lithium here, and you might notice that these two columns in blue go together. So I want you to notice that in this first column, it's charge of type 1 ions. So in this reaction, notice that Li and F each have a charge of 1. So in all of these examples, Li always has a charge of 1, and F always has a charge of -1. And I want you to notice that when it turns into the written form of the molecular formula over here, notice that there's no subscript or number at the bottom. So that just means that I have 1 of F and 1 of Li, right? So I want you to pay attention to that when you're comparing these two, right? So when you're comparing these, looking back and forth, notice that it's the charge on this column, and then it's the number of elements I have when I combine. So if the charge is +1, -1, my formula, or when these two elements combine, I'll have 1 of each. On the other hand, here, these two kind of go together, right? So the two columns in green together, I'm looking at the same thing again. So Li still has a charge of 1 plus. Whoops, kind of covered that up there. But this time, notice that O, or oxygen, has a charge of 2 minus. And when I look at when they connect on this side, notice that this time I need 2 Li's for every single O, or oxygen, that I have, right? So O has no number, which means I have 1 O, right? So this pattern might be kind of tricky to figure out. And if you're looking for this pattern, still want you to pay attention to the charges, right? Remember that Li has a charge of 1 plus, and when they combine, I have 2 Li's this time, and 1 O. So you might notice a pattern now, and see if you can figure that out and if it's true for the rest of them, right? So once you look through some of these, you can look at all of the lithium examples, you can look at all of the magnesium or Mg examples, and all the oxygen examples. This one's kind of the hardest, right? And I want you to identify patterns by answering these questions. And once you figure out the pattern, you should be able to answer questions 3 all the way to question 6. Right. So once you figure out the pattern, you should be able to answer questions 3 to 6. And again, don't worry if you get this wrong. I haven't taught you anything yet. I just want to see if you notice the patterns going on here. Maybe then you can figure it out on your own.